All right, guys, coming back at you with another breakdown and predictions video for UFC Fight Night, Woodley versus Burns. Tyron Woodley versus Gilbert Burns in the main event this Saturday. Going to be an awesome card, very stacked main event. Man, this fight could be on any pay-per-view on any main card. Definitely, I'd say a fan favorite fight with the way that these guys both fight and the way they kind of match up. Of course, too, being able to break down one of our Rufus Sport teammates and Tyron Woodley is kind of fun for us. So, yeah, we'll start with the first fight of the night. We're going to go through some of these a little quicker. Some of these fights we got a little bit more stake on, know the people a little bit more. So we'll run through some of these predictions a little bit quicker for you guys. All right, so first fight of the night, what do we got, Spencer?
Chris Gutierrez versus Vince Morales.
Okay, both scrappers. I'm going to give the slight edge to Chris. I'm going to probably go with Chris Gutierrez.
Yep.
I'm going to go with him, probably unanimous decision.
That's what I had too.
Yeah.
Next fight is Luis Smolka versus Casey Kenny.
That's a good fight. Is it bantamweight or flyweight?
I believe it's at bantamweight.
Yeah, that's a good fight. Casey Kenny was actually the, I believe, the first fighter in LFA history to win 2 titles in 2 different weight classes. I could be wrong on that, but he was the flyweight and bantamweight champion. Man, that guy's really skilled. Luis Smolka as well, very, very skilled. I'm going to probably go with Casey Kenny. I'm going to probably say unanimous decision again. Yeah, but I mean, that's going to be a good fight. That'll be a good fight, especially the second fight of the night. Luis Smolka got good jiu-jitsu. But yeah, I think just Casey Kenny's really, really well-rounded. So he came out, his UFC debut was on short notice, 2-week notice against Ray Borg. Actually won that fight by decision. I think there was some controversy there, people saying they don't quite know if he won. It's been a while since I watched that fight, but just the fact that you go 3 rounds with a former title challenger on 2 weeks notice, to me that's quite impressive. So yeah, I'm gonna go Casey Kenny in this one, unanimous decision. What do you got?
I got Casey also, but I'm gonna say TKO round 3.
All right.
Then the next fight is Tim Elliott versus Brendan Royval.
Yeah, Royval. Yeah, Brendan Royval, another LFA champion, actually. Man, that guy's been tearing the scene up regionally. Trains out of Factory X, great gym. Yeah, but he's got a tough test in Tim Elliott, man. That guy is a true veteran of the sport. Been around, fought the who's who of those lighter weight classes. I'm going to go with Tim Elliott. I just think he's going to be a bit too experienced, a little bit too much for Brandon. But man, Brandon is exciting. Again, anything can happen in MMA. But yeah, just my gut is going to say Tim Elliott. I'm gonna honestly say Tim Elliott submission, 2nd or 3rd round.
Okay.
If not, it's going to go decision. I don't know that he'll get a TKO, but he's got good submission skills. I mean, he's good everywhere, very experienced. But again, too, like I said, be prepared for Brandon Royval to kind of come out there and put some fireworks into that fight. Who do you got for that?
I got Tim Elliott also. I think he's just gonna kind of swarm and just kind of do like that, the volume striking that he always does, and then go for takedowns too. So I got him by decision.
Yeah, he's squirmy.
Then the next fight is Jamal Hill and Klidson Abreu.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know too much about Abreu. I've seen Jamal Hill fight a few times. Good, strong, powerful. Seems like just kind of like you've mentioned it before in the past, describing guys are just like a force. They just kind of move forward, put a lot of pressure. I'm gonna go with Jamal Hill. I have no prediction besides I think he's gonna win.
Yeah,
I don't know how that fight's gonna go.
I got Jamal Hill by decision. Like one thing, I just kind of like watching this fight. It's like usually there's like one great strike, and it's kind of like not so great a little bit after like the next 2 minutes.
Yeah,
I think he'll just kind of run away with it just by decision win.
Yeah.
Then the next fight is Daniel Rodriguez versus Gabriel Green.
Yeah, so this is supposed to be Daniel Rodriguez versus Kevin Holland.
Yep.
Yeah, Kevin Holland was he just fought, I don't know, 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago.
Somewhere in there, yeah, somewhere in the last month, 2-3 weeks ago. Had a quick finish over Anthony Hernandez, but yeah, he got injured. Don't know anything really about this guy that's coming in. Gabe Green, is it?
Yeah, Gabriel Green.
I'm assuming probably his UFC debut, found somebody on short notice. I'm going to go with Rodriguez on this one, probably finish.
Yeah.
Round 1 or 2.
I got Rodriguez by KO round 1. I just feel like Gabriel Green, he's good at lightweight being bullied, but I think he's just going to be too undersized for this.
Yeah.
Like, could shock us, like not having to cut weight, maybe feels great.
Yeah, I feel like Rodriguez is a decent sized welterweight too. He made his UFC debut, I think, against Tim Means.
Yeah.
I believe so, and he finished him. And it was honestly a good fight. Showed a lot of potential.
Then next fight is Caitlin Chookagian versus Antonina Shevchenko, Valentina's sister. So her first fight after fighting Valentina.
Yeah, that's a good fight. It's so weird, right? Going from fighting Valentina, then you fight her sister.
Yeah.
I'm gonna honestly go with Antonina.
Okay.
I just think, and I really like Caitlin Chookagian. I think she's very, very skilled. It's such a tough thing to call because you just don't know how she's gonna come out after that, title fight loss. Valentina, I think, is hands down probably the second best woman fighter in women's history right now in MMA. And Antonina, training with her sister all the time, Antonina showed a lot of potential in her own fights. Very well-rounded, just like her sister. Obviously already a decorated Muay Thai champion. Shown some good jiu-jitsu skills, obviously constantly learning. Caitlin, again, it's just kind of hard to say. Is she going to come out like a bat out of hell and with a, different skill set, a different motivation, a different, pressure? Just, it's hard to say how you're going to come off of a loss like that. So I'm going to actually go Antonina, unanimous decision.
I got Caitlin Chookagian by decision. One thing, kind of like watching like her fight against Valentina, it was like she was kind of like a step behind, just like speed wise. I felt it was Valentina's speed, which I don't see with Antonina. Antonina's just like this huge girl. She's long and rangy, but I think it'll kind of be Caitlin doing her thing, kind of like being a point fighter in a way. So I think she'll get it by decision.
I think you guys can expect a very technical striking fight in that fight. Yeah.
And then next fight is Mackenzie Dern and Hannah Cifers.
Yeah, so now we're on the main card of the night. That's going to be a cool fight. Hannah Cifers, very tough, durable, fought a lot of good girls as well. Mackenzie Dern, though, I just think, well, for one, I think Mackenzie's going to have quite a bit of size on her.
Yeah.
Mackenzie's definitely not a small strawweight. Yeah. And I just think Mackenzie, I mean, for those that are not aware, Mackenzie Dern, when she was still actively competing in jiu-jitsu, before she moved over to MMA, to my knowledge, you can go back and look at this, I believe she was ranked, the #1 female jiu-jitsu competitor and fighter in the world at that time. I mean, she just literally has some of the best jiu-jitsu around in that UFC division, in the entire UFC, but especially in women's divisions. I think round 1 submission for Mackenzie Dern.
I agree. Hannah Cifers, her takedown defense isn't at the level it needs to be dealing with someone like Mackenzie Dern. So yeah, we both agree. The next fight, another exciting fight, is Roosevelt Roberts and Brock Weaver.
Yeah, that'll be I think that'll be a barn burner, to be honest. Both guys really come to scrap. Brock Weaver, new to the UFC, had a weird fight. His last one was, it was exciting, and then he got dropped bad, and then I forget the guy that he was fighting, but then he got it kneed illegally. It was pretty horrendously obvious downed opponent knee. But Brock Weaver, just that attitude is just, I don't know, it entertains me a lot. I really look forward to watching him fight. So I'm really pumped for this one. Roosevelt Roberts, to my knowledge, a Carlson Gracie teammate. The guy's really good, to be honest. I think his submission, he's good striker. I think his submission skills are underrated. And I think he's going to catch Brock with a submission round 2 or 3. That's my prediction.
I don't really have a round. I think he's just going to win by TKO. Last kind of fight we saw Brock, he was taking a little bit too much damage.
Yeah.
Kind of has that style where it's almost like the Chuck Liddell. It's going to keep up as long as his chin keeps up. Kind of saw I was catching up with him, I think. So I got Roosevelt by just TKO.
Okay.
Not sure what round.
That'd be a good one, though.
Then the next fight, another good one, is Billy, I'm going to probably butcher this, Quarantrillo versus Spike Carlisle.
Yeah, that's an interesting fight, too.
This is at catchweight, also.
Okay.
It's at 150, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I watched Spike Carlisle come up in LFA before he got in the UFC, and then he had quite the debut. Man, that guy's really, really interesting. I'm going to go with Spike Carlisle. I don't know too much about Billy. Both, obviously, guys are new to the UFC, so both really untested in the sense of being in the UFC. But yeah, just knowing more about Spike Carlisle, very dynamic fighter. Very, very dynamic fighter. That's something I actually heard Dana White say about him as well on his Now You Know, or if you don't know, Now You Know videos. and saying that was one of the fights to watch. So again, I think this fight's going to end in finish, 100%.
Yeah.
Both guys have a record of finishes, but I'm going to go with Spark Carlisle. How? I don't know. Probably TKO.
Yep, I got TKO round 1 for Spike Carlisle. I just feel like he's just too dangerous, like wherever you put him.
Yeah, because very unorthodox.
The spinning back fist in LFA in order to get to the UFC, and then he had like the Travis Brown elbows.
Yeah.
Like in the clinch kind of to win his debut.
Yeah.
The next fight at heavyweight is Blagoy Ivanov and Augusto Sakai.
Yeah, don't know too much about Sakai. I'm gonna go with Blagoy. That guy is really durable. I don't believe he's ever been TKO'd or knocked out.
Nope.
I think he's been submitted once, I believe, on his record, but he's never been KO'd. The guy's fought some good people in the UFC already, and just shows tremendous durability, heart, and good cardio. He's gone all 3 rounds with a lot of good competition. I believe he's got a Sambo background. I believe I also heard that he beat Fedor back in the day in Sambo. So that's pretty impressive. I mean, Fedor, for those that don't know, is easily one of the most well-known and legendary heavyweight fighters we've ever seen in MMA, and was a force in the Sambo days. So yeah, anybody that can beat Fedor in Sambo, anybody that beats Fedor in anything to me is just like, that's a bad dude. So yeah. I'm gonna go with Blagoy. Decision, unanimous.
I agree. And then the last fight, the main event, is Tyron Woodley and Gilbert Burns.
Yeah, this is going to be a good fight, guys. This is a sick fight. The whole card is great, right? But the main event, like I said before at the beginning of the video, that is a stacked main event. When I say that, I mean that main event. I would pay money to just watch that fight alone. We got Tyron Woodley, former UFC welterweight champion, arguably one of the best welterweight champions we've seen in the last decade. Versus Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns has made quite a splash in the welterweight division, I would say. Was a former lightweight and started taking some short notice fights at welterweight and has been on quite the streak. I believe he's 3-0 or 4-0 coming up to welterweight. His last fight had quite the outing, knocking out Damian Maia. Tyron Woodley fought Damian Maia for 5 rounds for the title and beat him. I mean, Tyron shut Damian Maia down completely. Completely just outclassed him as far as game planning and strategy goes. But Gilbert, did get the finish on the feet. And I do believe Woodley, threw out his shoulder in that fight, actually tore his rotator cuff, I believe, versus Damian Maia. So, things like that play a big, big factor in a title fight when you're a big power puncher. So just talking about, similar guys that they've fought and comparing, stylistically, I think stylistically both are very similar. Really good grapplers, heavy-handed guys that will strike. They'll just go wherever the fight goes. I do think you've got to give the jiu-jitsu edge to Gilbert Burns. The guy is a bronze medalist at ADCC in 2015. You don't simply just go to ADCC and medal and not be really, really good at jiu-jitsu. He's a multiple-time world champion in jiu-jitsu outside of even ADCC. So, I think you got to give the slight edge in jiu-jitsu to Gilbert, but I'm going to give the striking edge to Woodley. I mean, he's got Duke Rufus in his corner, Dean Thomas, amongst other great trainers. He's also a black belt on the ground. He's no slouch. Obviously, wrestling, he's going to have the edge in wrestling. If you're just, comparing these guys on paper, striking, I think Woodley's just got the edge when it comes to stopping takedowns and taking it to the ground. And then I do think he's got the edge in power and just the experience. I think the experience is going to play a huge factor. Coming off of a loss to Kamaru Usman, has said publicly many times it was not himself that fight. He certainly didn't look it. Not taking anything away from Usman. That guy is an animal, but just intriguing, right? It's kind of like the Caitlin Chukagian matchup. She's fighting somebody in Antonina that's an up-and-comer.
Yeah. Same
thing. Tyron's coming off of a title fight loss, and fighting another big contender that's coming up in the division. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Pretty much I agree with everything you said. Only thing, another edge that you probably get to Gilbert is, he's fought with no crowd already. Like that fight against Damian Maia.
Yeah.
I really don't think it's going to be a big deal for Tyron, though. Dude was a champion.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to really rattle him.
Yeah.
I think he's going to show up, and I think he's going to stop Gilbert.
Yeah. What round do you think?
I'm gonna say KO. I'm gonna go round 3. I think it's gonna be kind of like the feeling out process in round 1. I feel like Gilbert's probably gonna try to force some takedowns or at least attempt, but I think Woodley's gonna have good takedown defense and stop it there,
Yeah.
it's going to just kind of turn to a striking match. And I think the speed and the power of Woodley is unmatched.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I think I've said this for years. I think Tyron Woodley, his styles, just his athleticism, his intellect, his fight IQ. You just go skill for skill. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's one of the more credentialed wrestlers in the entire UFC, to my knowledge. His striking, his power is obviously the focal point of his striking when people talk about his abilities on the feet. But it's not just the striking. The guy is very, very knowledgeable when it comes to the art of striking. Boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, and then obviously, especially for MMA. I'd love to see Tyron just use more kicks, more low kicks, and just kind of a little bit more volume, because he does tend to just look for that one punch knockout. I think the world of the guy. I've gotten to meet him and train alongside him a few times at HQ. Obviously a little bit biased, but I love Gilbert Burns too. I'm a huge fan of Gilbert Burns. But I just think on paper, man, you got to go with Woodley. He's got way more experience going 5 rounds, way more experience being in the spotlight like this. I believe this is Gilbert Burns' first main event, to my knowledge. So yeah, it's just tough, man. It's just tough. But you do bring up a good point though about him being able to fight in that no audience event when he fought Damian Maia. It gives him a little bit of that comfortability knowing what that's like. Yeah. But like you said too, I think Tyron's not going to be fazed by that. And I think he's spent quite a bit of time training for an event. He's supposed to fight Leon Edwards, and that got pulled from us. Yeah, I'm going to go with Tyron Woodley KO in the first 3 rounds. Might even be the first 2. And don't be surprised though if you do see him go for some takedowns and kind of beat up Gilbert on the ground. Do I think he'll just dominate on the ground? No, I think Gilbert is very, very skilled and versed there. But quite honestly, I do think Woodley can just take him down whenever he wants. But you got to be careful because Gilbert Burns is, I'm gonna guarantee, looking for guillotines, triangles, things of that nature, knowing that he may get taken down. Yeah, don't be shocked too if you see a lot of striking from both these guys too.
Yeah,
they both do like to strike a lot. So yeah, a great card, guys. Check out the fights. Free fight night on ESPN Plus. Don't miss it. Comment your own predictions below, and let's talk about it. Let's see who's kind of got who, and let's enjoy the fights on May 30th. All right, thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed.